If you feel like you just don't have enough light for indoor plants, but you do really want some nice plants inside of your home, then this video is for you. By the end of this video, you will have 5 great options to choose from. I'm going to show you 5 of my favorite low light houseplants that are not just easy to grow and beautiful, but will thrive in the low light areas of your home. Some of the most beautiful, interesting, and frankly underrated indoor plants actually prefer lower light. The kind of light you get in darker rooms, north-facing windows, or spaces where nothing else seems to survive. Even windowless bathrooms. And make sure you watch until the end, because the last plant on this list, it might be the most surprising low light plant of all. Really, not a lot of people know that this plant does so well in low light, but it does, and it is also one of the easiest and most colorful. Plant number 1, the Natal Mahogany. This is one of those plants that feels almost like it's a secret. The Natal Mahogany has these deep green, glossy, compound leaves that give it a very refined, almost old world look. It's like a small indoor tree that you'd expect to see in a historic building like a museum or a conservatory. What makes it special is how well it adapts to lower light. It doesn't need bright sunlight to look good at all, and in darker rooms, it will grow evenly and very gracefully. And I love how the new growth on these plants looks. As the new clusters of leaves pop out, they look really cool. They have a beautiful color, and it seems to almost shine, even in dark rooms. So I find it to be a very unique look, the way the new growth comes off of this plant, and it is very special. These Natal Mahoganies are also surprisingly tough once they're established, which makes them a great option if you want something that is elegant but not high maintenance. I've found that they're actually very similar to peace lilies in that when it needs water, it will be super obvious. The leaves, they start to droop and hang down just like a peace lily, but once you water it, they pop right back up with no damage. So that makes it super easy, and it just kind of takes the guesswork out of figuring out the watering schedule. So that is the Natal Mahogany. And if you like the idea of a plant that handles low light and brings a bit more structure and contrast, something that feels bold but architectural, then the next plant is a perfect step in that direction. Let's take a look. And guys, real quick, please, if you want to help the channel, subscribe, like the video, comment, tell me what your opinions are on my list, if you agree or disagree. And if you have other friends who are into houseplants, please share my channel with them. It will help a ton and mean a ton to me. Thank you guys so much. Love you guys very much. Plant number 2, the Dracaena Reflexa. All right, Dracaenas are classic low light plants for a reason. But the Dracaena Reflexa is where things get interesting. The plain green form is already excellent in low light, but the variegated types take it to another level. The Song of Jamaica brings in softer yellow striping, while the Song of India, my personal favorite, has bold, bright yellow leaves that somehow, they stay bright and they light up a room, even in a low light room. So these plants have a sculptural, kind of geometrical, very intricate, incredibly interesting look, and they're also very forgiving. They don't mind mist waterings, they don't demand a lot of light, and they still manage to look intentional and stylish, even in darker spaces. So I'd say if they're in a darker spot, just water them once every 2 weeks, and they will be quite easy. But if what you really are looking for is color, not just shape or form, and if you're wondering if that's even possible in low light, the next plant might completely change your expectations. All right, for plant number 3, we have got the Aglaonema, or the Chinese evergreen. So if you think the Chinese evergreens are boring, then you are living in the past, my friend. Because yes, the classic green and silver types, we've seen them for many years all over the place, even though there's nothing wrong with them. They are fantastic in low light. But the new varieties are where the magic is really at. All right, so the red, pink, coral, even deep burgundy tones. I mean, these are something that are quite unique for plants that are going to tolerate such low light. Aglaonemas are really some of the best plants if you want these interesting colors without grow lights in a dark room. They're compact, adaptable, and incredibly diverse. And once you start collecting these different varieties, it can be addicting and hard to stop. I've got a few of them now. And they are really special plants that are both very easy and can take very low light. All right, that's the Chinese evergreen. And now, if you like foliage with personality, texture, and a little bit of drama, something that feels more exotic, less expected, less average, the next plant is where things start to get really interesting. So let's check it out. All right, guys, we are at plant number 4, and we are talking about Anthuriums. Anthuriums deserve way more credit as low-light plants, and just way more credit in general. They're one of my favorite plants, one of my favorite houseplants of all, and I think they are incredibly underrated. They can handle low light, low water, and they have very unique colors and leaf shapes that you're not really going to see on any other type of plants. The classic Dutch Anthuriums with the shiny red flowers do well and are great plants, but there's a whole world beyond those. The velvety leaf type like the Anthurium Clarinervium, structural types like the Birdsnest Anthuriums, and even the bold foliage types like the Anthurium Hookerii, they grow incredibly well in low light. In darker rooms, many of the Anthuriums, they'll put more of their energy into leaf quality rather than flowering, which honestly makes them even more striking. I think unless you're growing the Dutch Anthurium, then you're not growing an Anthurium for the flower. You're growing it for the leaves. And the Dutch Anthurium will flower in low light. The rest of them, if they don't flower in low light, then, I mean, who cares? You know, the Dutch Anthurium has been bred over generations to grow in low light and flower in low light. The other plants, it's the foliage, it's the leaves that are impressive, and so they've been bred over years for the foliage to stand out, you know? So all of these, they bring texture, presence, and definitely a very exotic feel that will elevate a space instantly. So these are very unique, very interesting looking plants that they can take extremely low light. So I have grown these before in a bathroom that has no windows and the light turns off automatically when you close the door. So it's in the dark most of the time, and I've grown Anthurium Clarinervium in that kind of light. So these can take not just low light, but extremely low light, and they are just beautiful. All right, so that was the Anthurium, and if you think that one was unexpected, the final plant on this list, it takes low light tolerance in a completely different direction with color, structure, and a look that it almost doesn't feel real. These are insane. Let's check it out. All right, guys, we're at plant number 5, the final plant, and this is the one that people do not expect for low light houseplants, Bromeliads. All right, Bromeliads, they come in a incredible range of shapes, colors, and textures, and many of them naturally grow in shaded forest canopies, not direct sun, so they can take very low light. So Bromeliads are actually epiphytic, which means that in their natural habitat, they don't grow in soil, but they actually grow on the branches of trees. So these are really cool, really unique plants, and I just cannot get enough of them. Bromeliads are some of my favorite plants of all. Not just houseplants, not just low light houseplants, but of all plants. All right, these are just some of the most unique, spectacular, easy, just incredible plants that exist on Earth. All right, the silverleaf varieties like the silver vase bromeliad are awesome if you want something that's colorful, but more like with the silver, dark green kind of colors rather than, the bright red and blue. So if you want the more kind of muted tones, then the silver vase, they handle low light beautifully, while other species like the Aechmea chantinii bring bold, banding, and dramatic form. And then there are the blue flowered Aechmea bromeliad varieties, which almost look unreal. They're like something from like a video game or from Avatar. But this is just scratching the surface of the different types of bromeliads. There are dozens of different types with different shaped flowers, different colors, different sizes, leaf textures, and patterns. And they are just one of those plants that has so many different varieties that are all easy to grow that there's always a type that will fit in any type of room, any type of, vibe, or any type of, color pattern or whatever that you're going for. There will be a bromeliad that matches that style. And then bromeliads, they don't need constant light, they don't need much water, and they just bring a level of color and structure that very few low light plants can match. So if you want something that is truly different for your dark room, bromeliads are in a league of their own. I think just a lot of people, they don't realize how well bromeliads will do in low light. I've grown them countless times in rooms where they are not getting any direct light whatsoever. Their light is only coming from the light bulbs in the room, and they will do just fine in there. They will flower in there, and they're just an incredible low light plant. All right, so there we have it, guys. Low light, it does not mean boring plants, and it definitely doesn't mean giving up on plants in general. You can still fill your house and fill your dark rooms with many beautiful plants. With the right choices, darker rooms can actually become some of the most interesting spaces in your home when it comes to the house plants you've got in there. So if you enjoyed this list, let me know. Let me know which one surprised you the most. Let me know which ones you disagree with or which ones that I left off the list. And if you want a part 2, then let me know, because there are plenty more low light plants worth talking about. Thank you guys. Love you very much, and I'll be back soon.